Welcome to the Popcorn Talk Network. For the online broadcast network that features movie discussion, news, and interviews, press 1.
Popcorn Talk. We talk movies.
From the Popcorn Talk Network, the online broadcast network for movie talk, we bring you on an expedition through the depths of the movie industry to discuss the amazing, terrible, and amazingly terrible movies based on video games. Our hosts' entire lives are dedicated to a single goal. Probably answering the age-old question, do games make good movies?
Kikoken! That's for all of you Street Fighter fans out there.
Yeah.
Welcome to Video Game Movie Anatomy. Today, in celebration of the upcoming release of Street Fighter V for all main consoles, we're going to be talking about a much worse product from the folks at Capcom, which is Street Fighter: The Legend of Chun-Li. I am one of your hosts, the internet's Mark B. Donica. You can find me on Twitter at Mark B. Donica, and joining me, we have our wonderful cast of characters, much like most Street Fighter games.
This is basically a fighting game. I feel like, yeah, for sure. What's your special move?
My special
Yes.
Yeah.
Crying.
Yeah, okay. Just gonna
Projectile
weep
tears.
uncontrollably
Projectile tears.
around this movie.
It's like the Binding of Isaac.
Yes.
Go ahead and tell the folks at home. Miss Stacey Shuttleworth.
All right, I'm Stacey Shuttleworth. You can find me at Ye Old Nerd on Twitter, talking about all sorts of literary and TV things, or at Nerds Doing Stuff, where I'm a nerd doing stuff.
Look at that.
Yep.
I'm Patrick Dees. You can find me on Twitter at P to the Dees. I'm starting a support group. If you've seen this movie, reach out. Let me know. We'll talk through it. We'll get through this together, internet.
I'm officially joining.
Yeah, would you please? All right,
Okay.
done.
Yeah,
Done. First.
starting today.
Yeah, this is our first official meeting.
See now,
Wonderful.
goes without
Yeah.
saying, I'm a bit of a Street Fighter fan.
True story.
When we talked about it on the previous film,
Right.
the original, the classic in name only, we actually found some positive stuff about it.
You did.
We.
No, I'm just saying you
No,
did.
me
That was
did
not a
personally.
question. That was not a question.
Oh,
You
did you?
did.
And yet,
Managed.
Which was impressive.
you would figure giving it time, letting the story develop into what it has.
Pretty
for the
good
Street
size
Fighter-
budget. Yeah.
50 million.
I know.
For a low budget action movie taking place in China, 50 million ain't that bad. This movie. So, first of all, let's get this going. Welcome to Video Game Movie Anatomy. Here we dissect the film adaptations of some of our favorite interactive media, like the Street Fighter franchise, like Need for Speed, like Mortal Kombat, like Phoenix Wright. That one was fun.
Okay.
That was a good one. in the
okay.
mix.
So we're gonna run
good.
through some of our favorite. Sorry, I couldn't say that with a straight face. Some of our favorite moments from the film.
We're gonna run through some moments.
We're gonna run through some moments
Yeah.
from the
Some
film.
times that happened.
But we're gonna get started with our speed run, and our speed run is what you would see. You're shopping at the GameStop at the Target. You look at a video game and you look on the back, and it gives you a little bit of a box quote.
Yeah.
So, for example, Mortal Kombat has a cheesy script but nails the spirit of the game. Or Need for Speed is a mindless action movie that doesn't make you feel bad for the people who are mindless. Quick example.
That one gets better every time you read it. It gets it.
does.
I get
Pretty
excited.
good.
Yeah.
The movie, though, does not. So, for speed runs, who wants to go first?
Stacey, I'm gonna have you go first.
Mine is definitely not something that you're going to put on the back of the DVD to try to sell to people.
Spoiler alert. Neither is mine. Neither
Hey,
is
it's
mine.
Right, but I
Honesty
will-
is the best policy.
I'll get mine out of the way. So normally, I come in and I prepare. I get a little long-winded. Mine's pretty straightforward. So, Street Fighter: The Legend of Chun-Li is the film adaptation of Street Fighter, the Street Fighter IP, Capcom Street Fighter IP. It is a cinematic abortion. It's not worth your time or anybody else's.
I like it.
Yeah,
Straight
just
to the point.
Don't watch.
got
Do not. Yeah, that's
No,
not
this
going on the back of the box.
This should be. That should be on the box.
It should be, right?
It should be. It won't be.
But it might as well have been. I was telling you guys off mic, but I went and I paid real world money for this, and I go. I know.
Dude, you can rent stuff on iTunes.
I know. I mean, well, I rented it.
Okay.
Yeah, so $4. Well, but my point is, so like, I wasn't upset even about the spend. I wanted my 2 hours back or 95 minutes
96
that I'll
minutes.
never
Yes.
get back.
Nope.
And I love the thing. Like, I even almost called you guys because it does a thing now on the Apple TV where it says, hey, it's got a 6% on Rotten Tomatoes. Like, I went in knowing what I was signing up for, and even then I was ill-equipped. So
you excited?
yeah, real good, real
It's like
good.
looking at it.
I think 6 is generous, but I'm really anxious to hear your speed run. So what do you got?
Good one. All right. So The Legend of Chun-Li takes a bunch of names from a popular video game series on a vague, poorly thought out slog so bad that it makes you actually wish you were dead inside, and doesn't even manage to include the title character Chun-Li's iconic outfit. 0 out of 5 stars.
I mean, they kind of did.
Okay, that
They
really
tried.
The
doesn't
club scene in
count.
Insomnia.
Yeah.
I
and it's-
mean,
at the 1990s techno club.
Dude.
Yeah.
Whatever.
We'll get
they
there for sure.
pretended to try.
What was the dead inside part? That's real good.
It makes you wish that you were dead inside.
That's real good.
Yeah.
I give
hit
that
that
box.
point.
I give that speed run 5 out of 5 stars.
Yeah.
That was
Thanks.
better than the whole movie. I'm already feeling better.
See, that's why we get a chance to talk about it like
God, I'm
this,
so
and it's going to
glad.
be much better.
I'm so glad we're doing this together.
Street Fighter: The Legend of Chun-Li is a Street Fighter themed story in name only. If you're a fan of the game, you would be much better buying every single copy again to help support the franchise instead of watching this.
Totally. Or how many headbands do you own?
I own 3.
Do you own 3?
Yeah.
Not 1.
No, 3.
Not 2.
3.
No, I got
3
I got
headbands.
1. Got a little dusty. Got this one from Loot Crate.
I like
Thank
it.
you. And then I also got one signed at an event by Yoshinori Ono, who's the producer of the whole Street Fighter franchise. So that alone,
A better spend is my
Much
point.
better spend.
And you're killing it.
and
It's a
all
good
of
look
them,
for you.
And all of them were free.
Okay.
So
all right.
there is that.
Yeah, for sure.
Much
They
better
didn't take up
spend.
95 minutes
No.
of your life. Fair enough.
Much better spend.
Also
I'm
that.
Chun-Li, an officer of Interpol.
Thank you. All right.
Okay.
Oh, we got a little bit of a soundboard going.
Beautiful.
She truly is.
She is.
We'll get
so
there.
excited to I thought Chun-Li was listening to a shit talker movie. I was very concerned, but I was like, look, we need to have an intervention. She's like,
She's going to defend this.
I mean, I don't
She's
think she
trying
has
to
anything
defend
to say. She's
herself.
not.
No, I
gonna
don't
defend
think
So from here we go to our controller toss moment. The controller toss moment is when you're playing a game or watching the film, and you suddenly have the "you've got to be kidding me" moment, and you chuck your controller across the room. I've got several. I had to limit my list.
Could you lead us to start us off? I feel like if
Alright.
you've got a
So-
few of them,
Started
don't.
it.
Yeah.
So it's going to come up several times in our discussion.
I know it will.
There's I was going to say wonderful. There is a character
Okay.
by the name of Nash, played by Chris Klein.
Oh yeah.
Nash.
Every single time he was on the screen, I was
Oh,
like,
yeah.
"You've got to be kidding me!"
Yep. I think this is the worst performance in a major motion picture that I have ever seen. And it's so bad, I don't know how it wasn't on my radar before. Like, you know when something's this transcendently terrible, people go, you know what you gotta see? You have to see it. Like, it wasn't even that. I think people are just like, just don't.
It was
You
so
should
bad,
give up already.
People didn't want to talk about it. Like, no one wants to talk about it.
It's incredible. It's to the point where I think there's 2 different movies. There's a movie that everybody else is in, and then there's a movie that Chris Klein thinks he's in. And it's a whole different thing, Mark.
It's like we're doing
really
a thing for
is.
College Humor, right?
Totally.
It's like,
I don't know. He's like, we'll fix it in post. I don't like what?
and trust me, we'll talk about it more throughout. But I can't wait till we get to our favorite lines.
Perfect. Okay.
So, but yeah, Nash was one of mine. There's one as a fan of the games. It's really easy, but they done goofed it.
Okay.
So M. Bison, or Vega, as he's known in the Japanese game, or Dictator, as he's known on the fighting game circuit. I know too much. They switched him up because they didn't want to get sued over Mike Bison.
Oh, right. So Balrog, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
So now Mike Bison is known as Balrog.
Right.
And Vega is known as, et cetera, et
Gotcha.
cetera.
Right.
So he runs an evil organization called Shadaloo.
He does.
Shadaloo.
Shadaloo.
Shadaloo. That's how it was damn spelt
Yep.
in the damn movie. There's a little thing that said Shadaloo headquarters.
Yep.
Welcome, Shadaloo board member. No, that's not. You spelled it different. That's not how it's spelled.
No. But here's my favorite thing about Shadaloo is that it's highly Googleable, right? Like it's this network of this covert, she literally types in some poor man's Google at a library computer and straight up Bison's picture pops up.
Less than
this
2
is your
minutes.
shadow organization, right?
2 minutes of research.
That was
and
all of
she
the
knew
sleuthing you did?
everything.
Totally.
And this comes after
Yeah.
Nash's line of, "He's a guy who can walk through the raindrops."
Yes!
Oh, yeah. He's
it's like-
everywhere.
except
He's
he's
on the
fu-
internet.
Dude, yeah.
Jeez.
If you can find him on a 2009 computer in the middle of Bangkok.
Yeah.
Just in public.
Just www.webcrawler.
And Nash's like, "We can't find
There
this."
it
Just
is.
kidding.
He's everywhere
impo-
but nowhere.
He's impossible. So that
Beautiful.
and my last thing is so they're Gen is telling Chun-Li about Bison's backstory.
Yeah.
And we see him as a baby, as an infant.
Uh-huh.
Yes.
And the baby that they close
can't.
up on. So this
I
is
can't.
so
I can't.
In this film, Bison is played by Neal McDonough, who goes for an Irish. For some reason, he's the child of Irish missionaries.
Correct.
I believe is what they said.
Yep.
And so when they close up on baby Bison, it's an Asian baby.
Yeah.
It's beautiful.
I mean, it is a beautiful child.
It's truly beautiful.
But like Chun-Li, he grows out of his Asian. Like he had an Asian phase as a child because we see young
baby.
We see young Chun-Li, and she just went through an Asian phase because she grows up and then she's not. I felt the same way. It's just that's how this movie goes.
That does seem to be it.
It's a phase.
So those are the three that I boiled it down to.
Pretty good.
What do you guys
That's
have?
not bad. You know what? I was honestly pretty done as soon as the very first fight scene when her dad sets his hand on fire.
I'm
and then
sorry.
immediately sets the chain
Get
on fire.
out of this room.
That was great.
That was
Was
the
it
best
great?
part of the whole
Was
movie.
it? Okay.
That first fight was probably the best fight.
The
in
best
was-
part of the
no,
whole
it was the
movie.
Best part. It was the
And
best
that was
fight
still
of
your
the
control.
movie.
It was
That
the
was
best part.
the first one. That was the, oh god, this is what I'm in
But
for.
it wasn't
No
even
believing.
the cork pop of the bottom of the
Dude,
wine
No, it
bottle.
wasn't that.
That
It
was
wasn't
dope.
even
That was really
that.
Real
was
good.
great.
Are you kidding me? Like, what badass lights his own hand on fire and then catches somebody? I was like, this is like.
Well, but how do you catch that chain
How
on
did-
fire?
It was
How-
amazing.
It shouldn't have caught on fire. This
Just
is my
fair-
argument. It
fair
shouldn't
point.
have caught on fire.
But at this point, we were looking for anything, and this was the
Okay.
beginning of the movie.
well, right.
Yes.
So that was the first, like, oh no, oh my. And
no,
then-
that was the first. Maybe there's something to it.
I
Alright.
agree.
Maybe somebody
Totally.
was lying to
It-
me.
Balrog
I
shows
mean, I
up,
knew better.
busting skulls, and we get this dude. Who can
it was completely opposite for me.
So can we
Interesting.
also
I
say it's like super her fault Dad got caught.
Oh,
Dad
yeah.
would have
Oh,
won
yeah,
that, but
for sure.
stupid baby Chun-Li walked in,
Little
messing
schoolgirl.
everything up
Destroyed
as
everything.
per usual.
Yep, just-
Gets her dad caught, and then like straight up forgets it immediately. Like I'm gonna go play piano because you know.
All right, bye.
But, you know,
Yeah.
later,
That
Dad.
makes me feel better.
Okay.
Once I get over this dad thing, maybe I can finally get a concert penis thing going.
I just feel like this movie just wore me down until nothing was too absurd. I was just like, well, why not? All right, that's cool. Like
Fireball
things just
is
kept
cool.
happening. Okay, sure.
That
makes sense.
I super loved
and
them.
then you know what? It still found a way to become even more unbelievable.
Oh, yeah?
Once I had hit that like nice nirvana of I can
You're
accept
settling
that.
in.
Zen?
You're like,
Oh yeah,
yeah.
I had this zen for about 2 minutes, and then so my biggest controller toss was probably when all of a sudden Nash again pops up, and then Chun-Li pops up in front of him and is like, "I need your help." Like they're all buddies.
Oh yeah, the really quick
totally.
scene.
Yep.
And I'm like, hold on. I paused for a good 5 minutes trying to figure out what had happened and what
And
I missed.
So he's pouring himself a glass of third-rate whiskey. Actually,
In
no, it might have been
some
Johnny
safe
Rocker.
house.
Whatever. And that we have no establishment for
Nothing.
whatsoever. It's just him
Nothing.
pouring whiskey.
Yep.
And
Why is he
out
there?
of surprise, he just totally drops it.
Like, it's amazing. He just
I'm gonna
like,
need backup.
just like yeah. I can't believe
Yeah.
that you paused it. You're like, wait a
I
minute.
was like, did
you-
I miss something? Did I miss the scene where they connected before? Like,
You're
what
such a good
is
human
You did
being.
actually,
happening?
because there was. I don't know why anybody would remove anything from this film, but there was a deleted scene.
I figured that was the case, and that's why it seems so
I'm
disjointed.
sorry.
With Nash and Chun-Li.
Yes, I figured that was what was happening, but it wasn't in the actual movie. So it was very
How
confusing.
bad the scenes have to be deleted from this movie?
Well,
How bad?
We lost out on Nash.
Oh.
How is that a bad
Yeah.
thing? You know what? Now that you mention it. So yeah, for those just joining us, I don't know why I haven't put this higher on the breakdown because I'm a fool. So essentially, the plot of this movie: when Chun-Li is a teenager, a teenager when she was a teenager. Sorry, I pulled this off of IMDb. When
yeah, that's
Chun-Li,
what they had.
as a child, witnesses the kidnapping of her father by a wealthy crime lord, M. Bison. When she grows up, she goes into a quest for vengeance and becomes the famous crime fighter of the Street Fighter universe.
Does she, or does she get a scroll? We'll talk
we'll
about
get
that.
there.
I know. Just
Honestly, I had thought that you couldn't get any more vague than the movie itself until I read that little blurb. I'm like, oh, you can
but
get
it's
more
kind of not
vague.
even true. Like this whole thing
Oh, yeah,
is
it's not
just
the
a
movie.
train wreck, and like. It marvels me because this wasn't made in a vacuum. Like hundreds of people had to check off on this and film it and like edit it and like finance it. Like
Yeah.
I don't understand how this got made.
Who put their money into this?
Totally.
Who said it was
Capcom.
okay?
You know what? I can
Why?
understand. So there was a vacuum left by the Tomb Raider movies,
Sure.
which did well.
Yep.
They made the second one may not have commercially or been like. Why can't I break? It didn't do well with the critics, but it made enough money. So Capcom could see this and go, well, we got to develop a strong female character movie action star.
Oh, do you think
that's
that,
what people are looking for?
You think that was the impetus, right?
I'm sure.
Okay.
And here's
All right.
a film franchise that everybody loves. They were gearing up. They used the same logo as when they started bringing everything back up for an anniversary that was around the time. And Street Fighter 4 was coming out within like a year or two.
All right.
So they were trying to like jumpstart the brand as a multimedia
transmedia property.
Transmedia property.
Stop it.
I tried to not say
I know.
it. But then you
No,
put
I
in
was
my
just gonna
damn
do it.
face.
Stick it there.
You know that thing you didn't want to say? I got you.
And they got star power.
No, totally.
That like these are all names that you look at and you go,
all right.
There's no reason why these people should make a bad movie.
Totally.
Also, Taboo is in it.
Also
Taboo
Taboo.
from the Black Eyed Peas. And yet,
I can't.
Here we are talking about it 6 years later. Actually, almost to the day. February 27th was when
Is
this
that right?
came out.
Coming up.
So we're coming up on the anniversary, everybody. On the 7th-year anniversary.
I'm gonna tweet at you guys. Happy
We need to
Chun-Li
tweet.
Chun-Li
Let's
anniversary.
tweet Kristin Kreuk, Chris Klein,
Yes.
Neal McDonough, Robin Shu, and
Beautiful.
Taboo.
I just remind them.
And find Michael Clarke Duncan and say, sorry, buddy.
Do you think they'll give me the hours back? Fine. Michael.
Just like,
It'll
sorry,
be our
Michael
second
Clarke
board
Duncan,
meeting.
rest your soul.
Yeah.
You poor. Okay, so while we're talking about the cast, let's bring up our star, Kristin Kreuk.
Yep.
Our half Chinese, half Dutch
Sure.
Chun-Li, who at the time wasn't doing anything super huge.
Smallville, right?
Well, she was coming. Smallville was over for a while.
Okay. Okay.
But this seemed like a perfect star vehicle for her. And for we're looking at a comparison for our audio listeners. Make sure to check out our YouTube stream, because I pulled photos from Street Fighter V of the characters.
Okay.
So these are up to date,
Yep.
even though that's not what they cast for.
Sure.
And I can see it. I can look at Kristin Kreuk and I can go, you know what? We got a star here.
Yeah.
This can be fun. She has some training.
Yeah.
Actually, she is a pianist. So the whole classical pianist thing totally worked out.
I mean, and was super necessary too. We needed that B plot. Like
You needed something from her to pull from.
Oh my God.
But the piano never
Right.
came back into play.
Nothing comes back into
No,
play. Not
not a
Bison's
single
original
thing.
plot. Not Vega's like, oh, you think this is the end? Yeah, sure as shit do. It's the end. You're hanging upside down. Like nothing comes back
No.
except the fireball.
Except the fireball.
Except the fireball.
A single payoff.
So what do you guys think of Kristin Kreuk as a casting choice for Chun-Li?
I thought she was all right. Like what felt like was missing for me was I think she was fine as Chun-Li and could have been fine. I told you about the weird disconnect about like a super Asian child that grows up to be half Asian,
Right.
and even then it's a stretch. I think she was fine as Chun-Li. I mean, fine, but there was a missing of a physicality. I didn't buy once that she knew how to throw a punch.
Right.
One of the things about first of all, Chun-Li is all about legs.
True.
She is.
I know. No. Yeah.
And
not
one of the
contesting.
things she's known for as a fighter is her gigantic thighs, because she has such strong
Right.
kicks.
Totally.
And you cast a smaller girl in that's not going to come across.
Right.
That was a miss from the get go. And you can be small. Like we talk a lot about like really tough women on this show, right? Like I think every week when we talk about Mia Jovovich or somebody, right, who I believe could beat the shit out of most people that she fights.
Yes.
I don't buy that here.
Fair play.
True.
So that was my issue. Although. Mad props to the spinning star kick in the club. Can we?
That was a high point.
Right?
It
That had to be
was.
like.
It was beautiful.
All right. All right.
It was good.
I would have broken several controllers. That mom was like,
Stacey?
"What are we doing?"
Yeah.
But
I thought, you know what? Looking at pictures of her, I can see her as Chun-Li more so than I actually saw her as Chun-Li in the movie.
interesting.
Oh yeah, that is interesting.
I don't really think that. And I guess this is a costume design thing. I don't think they really captured that. They just kind of kept throwing her in blue. And it was like, look, this is Chun-Li. And I can appreciate that, I guess, but I don't quite think they still got it across.
The one thing that I will say is they gave her the white boots that are kind of poking into frame.
Oh, yeah.
And they made sure to have as many like full body shots as she was like trying to figure out the city.
Totally.
To be like,
Right.
look, no, those are
No,
her
but
white-
yeah, I know,
look,
totally.
Right.
She's almost there. She's working on it. It was a good choice. Most of this was good choice with a bad script. You do what you can with the part. But then we go to Chris Klein's portrayal as Charlie Nash.
Yeah.
Charlie in the States, Nash in Japan, and I made sure to pick the best picture.
Oh, that's good.
That's beautiful.
Both of those for audio listeners, you're really missing out here because
That's the thing
that is quality.
Charlie, just because that's how I knew him, Charlie is an ex-Marine that worked with Guile and ended up joining Interpol. Mm-hmm. So he and inversely ended up becoming captured by Bison, et cetera, whatever. So even just going, he's a Marine. No, let's take that away and make him a crappy beat cop that works for Interpol. That doesn't make sense to me in a cast in writing a movie.
That was a weird change.
And the choice of Nash over Guile, presumably to get the taste of Jean-Claude Van Damme out of everybody's
Do you
mouth.
think that's what it was? Because that was such a weird choice. Like Guile's so recognizable, right? Like he's iconic. We got away from Ken and Ryu. We don't have a Guile in this movie. Like for me, that was a little weird. Like, all right, we're gonna go with Nash, who's known, but certainly not like instantly recognizable as one of the. I could have used some Dalsum.
I could have used some Dalsum too.
I know.
That would have been fun.
I agree.
But a bizarre. We've already talked about it. And we're going to keep talking about it. A bizarre performance that the only reason he was in this movie was at the end, where you had a reason for soldiers to be there.
Oh, all
Yeah.
right.
That's really
Yeah.
and even then, the cop from China, whose name I totally forget, she comes in saying, "We're all from this neighborhood anyway."
No, she's not. Have you seen the people in the neighborhood? They have all these establishing shots of these poor, emaciated, like nobody looks like you on the streets.
Nobody
are
looks
not.
perfect.
Nobody.
Not
You know
you.
you are not, right? Like I'm just like that line was just so bad. I'm just from around here. It's just like, no, you're not.
You are absolutely not.
Yeah.
No.
It seemed.
I know.
Nash has no reason to be in this movie other than to give Chris Klein a paycheck.
I will
Poor
say
soul.
he crushes it when he says Nash out.
Oh.
If I had to say it one more time, like
Nash out.
Nash out.
Nash out.
It's pretty good.
Takes off. Yeah.
pretty good.
It was.
And oh my god, so let alone for a character.
I just want to talk about Nash the rest of my life.
I don't know if you
Oh,
do.
no.
I
sure
kind
about
of do
that?
because like I mean it. Like I was half. Because, I get on the show and I get really negative about everything, but, like, he really was my favorite part. Like, unironically, my favorite part about this movie, because it is not redeemable in any sense. But I meant what I said when I said there's, like, two movies going on, because I feel like they're, like, I don't know, kind of do a Christian Slater and, like, squint a lot and get, like, what is he? I don't understand the direction or any of that dude's choices at all. From line one, right? He gets out of that car and there's that Euro trash, like, house music pumping. He gets out, like, he's greasy as shit, and he's, like, scoping out the other cop, and he's like,
I love my job.
totally, like immediately you're
The
like, what are
recurring
you
line.
doing? So gross. Sexually harasses her in the car later. Like, it happened. Is that what? That's just okay now? You just make out with some woman?
It's
You're
like-
like,
And they just go on.
They just
Big
kept going,
thing,
like
yeah.
not even like over shoulder, and that never came back into play.
Nope.
Because you
Nope.
never saw them follow
Nope.
the the town car.
No.
No.
And you never saw Chun-Li
No.
follow the taxi.
not at all.
That
Like-
scene had no purpose.
Oh,
Most of
absolutely
the
not.
movie didn't. It starts a
No.
bunch of shit that doesn't finish. Like even the whole plot about him buying the slums, which is complete and utter garbage. Like
It was
is a dumpster
terrible.
fire, right? Like because they say Bison's gonna the Esperanto company, which by the way is right across the street from their office.
It's like-
What?
That is so great. The Shadow Company is
Yeah.
right out the
Amazing.
window. That was my actual controller toss moment. I'm just like, nope. But like that plot about Bison buying and then Shadowloo buying the slums so they can then introduce crime to lower the property value. You already bought it, so you're like reducing your own property value. It's
No,
nonsense.
he didn't buy it
No.
until he introduced crime, then bought the area, and then is going to torch it all and rebuild it as high cost
That
housing.
would make sense.
That's what it was, but
okay.
it didn't come
That's-
across
yeah.
as clear.
Okay, yeah, not
It
at
was
all.
very
I thought he was
convoluted.
already, because the way they
No.
say it, they're like, he's already buying up all of this. And then they showed him introducing the crime. So they'd already established the fact that he was buying it. So to me, it read, bought it, introduced crime, lower your own value, you're an idiot. Oh, and you're on the front page of Google.
Yeah,
So,
nothing
let's
was
talk about-
presented well.
So dumb.
That was
Speaking of
that was
Bison, Neal McDonough,
Yeah.
bless his heart.
Bless his heart.
They wrote this part awfully. Beyond
Oh, so
terribly.
The
bad.
part, why get specific with that? This movie? Can we say movie?
It's so...
It's so...
When I first watched this movie back in 2009, and I did, I'm sorry to
You
say,
did.
I was like, okay, they're playing him off as this calm, well-to-do businessman,
Sure.
but I know he's got all of these psycho powers, which is why he has like no pupils. There's going to be a turn. We've seen a fireball. There's going to be some. We already have some special effects, some visual effects. He's gonna Rose is gonna die or something, and he's gonna go bonkers,
Right.
and we're gonna
If
see this
only.
psychic, powerful, like seemingly unkillable warrior.
I would have been into that.
and we
That would've
didn't
worked.
I would have been into that.
whatsoever.
I would have been.
There was no build.
No.
He, and I say this with as much respect to Raul Julia as I can. Despite how comedic in the original Street Fighter film Raul Julia's M. Bison was, more true to the character and made more sense as a person and as a character in this world, and would have fit much more than this Bison does.
Oh yeah, I would agree with that
Yeah.
completely.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, in fact, like this movie is orders of magnitude worse than the Van Damme movie, and that is like the lowest bar to clear. I don't know that I've seen a worse movie.
Did you know that they tried to contact Van Damme about making a cameo as Guile?
Shut up.
Oh, I read
did.
that. They did.
Shut up.
They did.
Yeah, and he just said,
He turned it down.
Nope.
Are you kidding?
Yeah, no, I learned a lesson.
I want to get as
Yes.
far away from that turret as possible.
Wow.
And the fact that
Van Damme would have made it. Like, but like
that would have made it okay. At
Yeah.
least they
Couldn't
know.
tolerate
Yeah,
it.
At
right?
least they
Yeah,
know.
I agree, right? A little winking at the audience,
Yeah.
but no, it was so
Nothing
self-serious.
at all.
It's like, now who wants to go get some Chinese food and who wants to come with me?
Yeah.
Just like some really stupid line.
Yeah, I'm on board.
I would have been super down with it, but instead we get this Bison.
Mm-hmm. This dumpster fire
This
of a
dumb
performance.
stuff. Like it wasn't even this movie.
This movie.
You take the Street Fighter out of it, it could probably be a relatively okay movie without the trappings
No.
of it. No?
No, it's not. It's not. I mean, no. I just. Yeah,
There's no
I'm with you.
character motivation makes no
Okay, good,
sense.
'cause
The
I'm coming
plot
at it from a
movement
straight-
has nothing.
No, I agree.
Not even as someone who is not in like super into this Street Fighter franchise, it still makes no sense as
Fair
a
play.
movie.
No, I totally agree,
doesn't
right? Like,
work.
and a lot of times we get on the show and we're like, why did they stick so close to the source material? They really didn't.
They
here,
didn't.
and,
At
and it's
all.
still terrible, right? Like,
Yeah.
because like we've said, kind of a formulaic approach. If they could get a little bit lean, there's no need for that for filmic adaptations. But that's not the problem here.
You know what?
No.
It might have. It might have been this, but it wasn't, because we're going to deal with the same director later when we do Doom in a couple weeks. That's not our next one, but
Which was the worst movie I'd ever seen before I saw this.
oh, super excited then.
New loves.
Yes.
New loves.
So if he hadn't done Doom, I would have thought he was like, you know what? We've got this script. It's this really low budget martial arts movie
Yeah.
about a father and a daughter. And then they go, then Capcom buys the script and goes, where can we plug
Right.
Street Fighter
Yeah.
into this, make a
Right.
quick buck? That's what it seems like, but then it's not.
Dog, like there's
It doesn't
No, it's
stand
dog.
alone.
This
Dog
movie is pretty dog.
there's 5 street fights in a 95-minute movie. There's like more gunplay in this movie
There
than
is.
there are street fights.
Oh, and don't get me started on Nash again.
Yeah, let's talk about dude. And they're all resolved in like 36
nothing, yeah.
seconds. Like Balrog gets wasted so fast. We'll talk about the Vega fight at length. But it's over before it starts. Like this movie's they should have been called like Street Talker or like Car Kisser
Street
or like
Streeter.
or Street Streeter or something. Yeah, I don't know, but definitely not. There's
Street
not a lot of
Fighter.
street fighting going
No.
on in this. Or like Scroll Receiver. I can name it a million things.
Scroll Receiver. I like
got
that
it.
one. Moving on to our
It's not legendary. Why is it a legend of her? Sorry.
our spirit guide in Gen.
Yep.
So the thing that I thought was a saving grace for this movie was Robin Shou, just because I'm such a big fan from Beverly Hills Ninja, Mortal Kombat.
Yeah.
He's one of the only actors to be in 3 different video game franchise films. Poor soul. So we're going to see him again when we do Annihilation, and we're going to see him again when we do Dead or Alive.
Do you think he was like finally this is going to be a good one? Like finally, like this is the moment.
Yeah.
Like
To
all
be
of my
honest,
life's work.
redemption.
Yeah, right?
Dude, Mortal Kombat is one to be proud of, because that's at least fun.
100%. I like him way more as Liu Kang. For sure, but it wasn't critically received. It made some money, like, and we talked about that at length. Like, but do you wonder if like this is the one he's like, Mom, I'm in movies. Go see this one. I'm really proud of this film.
Well, he
And
does.
then the rest of it fell apart.
Right?
He does so much better work in China, but this one, I figure it could be one to be. His performance, at least, he was proud of. His performance and Michael Clarke Duncan's were two of the performances. Say what you will about the lines and the content, but they at least knew what they were doing.
I mean, dude, like that line again, but like at some point as an actor, where's it your responsibility? I'm not an actor, but like where's it your responsibility to be like, people don't talk that way? Like when Bison and Balrog are in the car, right? And they're talking, like Bison's talking at Balrog most of the time, right?
Yeah.
And he's explaining about this whole plan and they're driving through the rioters or whatever. That scene ends with Balrog going, huh. Agreeing, and I'm like, why is that even in the? I don't know. I'm sorry. Like, I came in here. I want to be positive. There's a lot I liked about it.
Well, we'll get to Patrick's positivity corner when we can. But what did you guys think of Gen?
Yeah, I liked him more. For me, he will always be Liu Kang, independent of whatever I see him in. I think it was fine. I thought the training montage was lacking. Not his fault.
No, that was an editing thing.
But they went from like show up to like learning a fireball day 2 to like go get some like groceries. I get blown up by a rocket launcher.
Yeah.
It was a weird. So like by no fault of his.
No.
The character was terrible. It was just all bad.
Yeah.
I wanted to be all right. Like, but whatever. He was fine.
Yeah.
He did all right. Yeah, he did a fine job with it. With the terrible, terrible material.
I believe that guy. Like he's obviously he's the true martial artist.
Yeah.
So his fight scene was kind of cool, and like I believe that guy could be a good master in a master apprentice type relationship, right? Like
he definitely had the aura of being of the
he was a master that you would want to learn from.
Totally.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
He was really his focus on Tai Chi was really cool.
Yeah.
The sand yin yang that he did when making the fireball. That's one of those like cool martial arts movies moments where you're like, okay, I'll let that one go because that was pretty cool.
I was like,
because he was talking about spiritual balance allows you to have the guidance to make the fireball.
Yeah.
Right.
So it made sense, but if any other movie,
if it happened like after like. If everything that had preceded it hadn't been an abject train wreck, I would have been like, I like that.
Cool.
But this is just another like, what are we even doing here? Like, no, just like I just want something. Yeah. So like, I agree with you. That's my kind of thing where I would have been like, all right, nice. But it just no, because it's in this.
Yeah, it was totally another why not moment.
Yeah, totally.
So we have him doing the fireball.
Was.
What if with his feet he made a yin yang? And I'm sure Robin was like, whatever.
Okay.
Several people said, do that.
Great idea.
Sounds great.
Do it.
And we get to our most confusing casting choice, which is from the Black Eyed Peas, Taboo.
I can't.
Playing Vega or Balrog.
Why?
Or Claw, for those of you in the fighting game.
Why?
So on the right, we have a big fan of the Street Fighter franchise, born half Native American, half Mexican. On the left, we have a 100% pure blood Spanish pretty boy.
Right. Look, and Vega's a cool character, right? Like
Vega's an awesome character.
I totally agree, right? And you could have had so much fun with this. This could have been we're playing with the audience, or this could have been like they could have had all of their Street Fighter like nods in one character and really hit it out of the park, and then you could have almost forgiven the rest of this. But then they went with Taboo.
They went with Vega wears his mask because he feels like he's too beautiful to show the commoners. And his So to have a guy who's just like, nah, I'm ugly and I want to wear a cool mask, or
that's
there was no
really-
motivation for it.
Nope.
There's no motivation for. I don't know why he's wearing a mask other than the fact that he's Vega.
It looks uncomfortable.
Right.
It looks like it cuts off his vision. Like I just like if you're gonna
completely
adapt to everything
impractical.
else, maybe make like a more reasonable mask for him to wear. I don't know. Like none of that made sense. And like I don't know. He like literally they sent him out right to kill the like crime bosses of all of the like all 12 of those dudes or however many were in that room by himself. We're led to believe, and Chun-Li disposes of him in like 14 seconds.
Well,
if that,
right?
If that.
But that shows her progression as a fighter and
Does
a
it?
master.
Oh, yeah, because we
of
were
course
led
it does.
there throughout the course of the movie.
If we had more from both of them, if we had more from both sides,
Yeah.
if we saw more of Vega just being a badass asshole, and just beating up
Okay.
people on the street and like slicing them to pieces
would've
and
loved it.
having them be
Great.
some sort of a threat, as opposed to cutting down middle-aged businessmen, then maybe
Right.
he would have been considered some sort of a threat. And if we had a better training montage, then we would have believed a little bit more that Chun-Li could have possibly taken him out in 15 seconds.
Middle-aged businessman killer. Like I'm still looking for names. I'm still looking for titles.
Still better than Vega.
Retitle
Yeah,
him
it's
so
better
not
than-
Vega.
No, no, it's better than
Don't put
like
that name
Legend
on
of
him.
Chun-Li. I'd like.
So they put him in all black instead of a colorful
They did.
matador. No roses.
No.
Nothing.
His claws look like 3 mini machetes as
Totally.
opposed to like actual claws. They do something that's a subtextual thing to the fans, and here's another one of my fan moments. So in the fight, and it tricked me again the same time, there is an electrical box covered in chain link.
Yep.
And in Vegas stage in Street Fighter 2, there's a whole chain link
You're
fence
gonna- yep.
that he
He
can
climbs
climb
on.
So you're like, oh, he's gonna use it.
Totally.
But what does he do? He slices right through it to be like, nope, not using any of that crap.
But you know that's interesting too because like Vega's like a very nimble character, right? Like he's
Yeah.
all speed, right? Like and
Very
it's like
speed.
when you play somebody who knows Vega, you're in for a round or two because it's a nightmare.
Especially on Vegas stage.
Especially on you're screwed. And so like why they went with this like slow why no that whole fight was the opposite of what I wanted, right? Like I want some acrobatic
Nice and
shit
close.
going down and like no
Forward rolls,
Yes!
hops, lunges. There's
I want
so
him to come
much.
in. I want to
None
yoga.
of that.
Yeah. Some of that yodeling
That's
in there.
all I want is a yodel.
And Taboo's a
Or he
can't
can
musician.
even
have the
say it
things
like
you
in a
want.
what's that?
You can't have the things you want. in this
Capcom.
movie.
Back of the box.
Actually, that's kind of weird. That's kind of oddly true. Capcom is
I
not
want
that
him
good
to,
at that.
even if he yodeled like in this dark, gritty, like yoga as he has her on the ground or something, like, you're like, yeah,
This
get
guy's-
behind that.
Then you're like, this
That
dude's
guy's-
weird. Kick his ass.
Yeah, I know. I'd be up
Anything.
again. That I would watch. Are you kidding me? Like a super scary thing? They don't know. Mark, I don't know. I
They
don't.
land somewhere sadly
So
in the
let's go
middle.
from sour to fun.
Okay.
Okay.
And we have the late, the great Michael Clarke Duncan playing Balrog, retired boxer,
Yeah.
looking for some cash.
Sure.
And I think that he knocked it out of the park.
Oh,
He was just like, dude, I get to beat up dudes for fun.
Yeah.
And I
Yeah.
don't have to
Yep.
hold back. That's that raging bull. That is M. Bison. Or Raging Bison, excuse me. It's a joke on Raging Bull. Anyway, I think he had so much fun that he made me go, oh, when's Balrog going to show up again?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Super
yeah.
That was
excited.
how
I'll
I
give you
felt.
that.
Anything positive?
He was my favorite part of the entire.
Was he?
I loved
He was
him.
laughing to himself, having a ball.
So happy.
I know, totally.
He just wanted to watch the world burn, and
Yeah.
he loved every second of it. It was wonderful.
I loved it. Whatever. His fight too with Gen was great. I mean, he died a very bad death. Like I know all of it.
Yeah.
Like it was too short, but I'm with you. Like, and I just loved that whole fight. That he was not Vega. He wasn't Speed. He just punches some
Right.
shit, and like that to me, it totally worked.
He was reckless.
Yeah, it was for sure.
He knew what he was signing up for, and he hit it hard.
Right.
So
Yes.
we've been talking a lot about the film story here and there. So let's touch on it a little bit. So the resolution has Chun-Li going after the White Rose, which we find out is Bison's daughter that he imparted all of his good positive chi,
Conscience.
I guess, his conscience. That's his conscience onto, so that he would have no second thoughts about just being a total douche nozzle.
Yeah, it makes sense.
Except Except why does he even care about his daughter then? And why does he care about... I just...
Exactly. If he doesn't have a conscience, why does he care about his daughter?
He's giving her gifts.
Kill her in cold blood.
Calling her over. Like, I don't understand.
The resolution makes no sense.
I don't get it.
He gets his head twisted almost off in a wonderful act of gravity.
How did you feel about that death scene when she kills Bison?
Well, why not?
Yeah, right. So you're like, yeah.
So here's a girl that we're supposed to be. This
is what I'm getting at. Yes.
Here's a woman that we're supposed to be behind 100%.
Yep.
She sees her father taken away and then killed, literally right in front of her.
Right.
And so her decision, she sees. Well, that might have been Nash's decision of, hey, come with me, let's see what's going on. He's an idiot for bringing the daughter involved in this fight scene. And so Chun-Li sees this and goes, you know what? I'm going to kill this guy in front of his daughter.
Totally. How is that not like I make eye contact, I go a different path? I mean,
that would be, you know what?
Growth.
Redeemable.
I'm not going to kill him.
Right. That would show an arc.
That would be the redemption.
Nope.
No.
Nope. Straight
no
up.
No progress.
Remember that time you killed my old man? I'm going to do the same to you.
Tag you back.
Right?
Tag you back, boo.
Can we talk about so like what we're talking about specific plot points and about her father specifically? That scene might have been my favorite in the whole movie when Chun-Li's reintroduced to her father after like 17 years. Bison has them both in a room and he's not like happy to see. He's like, why? This isn't the life I wanted. What are you doing? You screwed all of this up. Now I'm dead as. I really got to watch my explicit tag. Yeah. I'm super dead because of you, you idiot. That's go play the piano. This is what I want. Like that scene was amazing. Straight up.
Utter, total regret.
Total.
So how...
You messed it up again. You got me into this. And now you just got me killed. You suck as a child. You suck as an adult. I'm ashamed I had you.
We're running low on time, so we're going to rush through some of this. But I wanted to say that my least favorite part of the movie, and there's a lot of it, but my absolute least favorite part of the movie was the very end when Gen goes, oh look, a Street Fighter tournament. Why didn't you do that in the first place for a movie?
Totally.
And you could still follow this Interpol plot as a side story.
I agree.
But no, you tease us with the tournament.
Totally.
And Ryu something or other.
They genuinely thought they had something here, right? Like that says this is a sequel, right? Like I mean, here's the sequel.
That's
the
post-credit scene.
Right.
Nowadays.
Right, yeah, totally.
It's like, no, you know what?
Right.
No, now I'm home.
Yeah. It's like, oh.
Nope.
No.
So before we move on, lowest point. Lowest point of the movie. Like, because controller test moments are ridiculous, but there's also a time you're like, you just deflate. You're just like,
I think it was the spinning star kick. It was so... It was just so dumb. And
Video games!
It was so dumb, and it was so like... It didn't look realistic. Like that whole, don't get me wrong. There's so many problems with the whole club scene and her seducing that woman. Like all of it's bad. But then like what they run in this circle and it's like this slow spinning. It's the dumbest thing I have ever seen in a movie that's trying to be serious. Either go all camp and psycho crusher and crazy, or don't. But don't do that.
Yeah.
In the middle of.
Don't tell us it's serious and then do one of the silly parts.
Yeah, objectively the dumbest thing you could do.
That was bad.
Stacey?
The way they shot it was absurd. I think my lowest point was when Chun-Li and Nash just magically hook up. Yeah.
Just like, what?
Just like...
So,
that was when I was done.
Surprisingly, the critics weren't too fond of this one.
What?
As we mentioned, it has a 6% on Rotten Tomatoes.
I still rented it.
A budget of $50 million.
Yep.
And a gross of 12.9. Terrible. $50 million is easy. That's easy to make back.
Yep.
So that means their word of mouth was awful. Their advertising was awful. And the word about, I remember back in 2009, the word about, Chris Klein does a really, really weird version of Nash in this. Don't see it. And I did. So I actually found a positive. There are 3 positive reviews on Rotten Tomatoes.
Okay, lay them on me.
This one's my favorite. This one is from Jeanette Katsoulis from the New York Times. Daddies and daughters lend a wistful emotional core to Street Fighter: The Legend of Chun-Li, an otherwise generic martial arts movie with video game credentials.
It's not a martial arts movie. I take offense to that.
And those video game credentials will not be able to get you into Anastolska in goddamn Papers, Please. So, no.
Well done. That was a deep cut.
Now that's a movie I want to see.
Yes.
But this doesn't. She just like.
Yeah, it was good. It was good.
You're in that one.
Which you can buy now on Steam. Yeah, this one, no. You want to hear the real
I do.
Positive one? that I
More
found?
than anything.
From Bill Gibran from Pop Matters, this sloppy second attempt at bringing the Street Fighter franchise to the big screen violates one of the primary rules for any PlayStation to motion picture translation: never mess with the mythology. Which is right. Like, the dedicated audience that you're making this movie for, the last thing you want to do is isolate them by changing everything that they know about it.
Right.
Stupid move.
Real dumb.
Terrible move.
It's going up.
You just can't even. I just don't want it on my head anymore. I own 3 of them, and that's going on the ground.
I had hope for Ryu, damn it. Let's get to some of our fun parts where we can start talking, having some fun.
Yes.
This is favorite line. In a terribly scripted movie like this was, I'm sure this one could be possibly fun. Who doesn't have Charlie on this?
Who doesn't have Charlie?
Yeah. I'm sorry, Nash. Who doesn't have Nash on this?
Charlie.
Oh, you have to have Nash on here. Yeah,
I don't.
Who wants to go first?
Stacey, please.
Stacey.
Okay, so I have several. Shall I start with one of the Nash
Fire
ones?
away.
Go ahead.
Okay.
Just every Nash line could make.
It really was.
I know.
I think my favorite, because it was so like borderline nonsensical, was when he was telling the other cop, Maya.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay, you don't want a ticket to this dance.
You've never even seen me dance.
Yeah.
What?
Totally. Like, she had it locked and loaded. You're like, really? That's not like a.
What?
This is not a fun and flirty thing. You're both gross.
No,
Stop.
You guys need to stop.
Stop. Just don't.
Cease.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
Emphasis.
That's pretty good.
It was.
Every Nash line could be on there. Oh, no, mine. I think
every
we
Nash
touched
line.
on it, but this is Charlie explaining Bison. He's explaining how he's bad at his job.
Yeah.
But he says his name's Bison. I've tracked him through 11 major cities on 4 continents and never come close. Not once. This guy walks through raindrops. Anybody that's against him is either dead or on their way.
Yeah.
Both of you took mine, so I
got a couple more.
No, but there was
I've
one.
got more too.
I liked Bison's right before he killed Chun-Li's dad. It
Yes,
was like,
yes.
Like, go ahead, read it off. Go ahead.
I've got Bison. You see, your father has been the milk of my business, but even milk has an expiration date.
Beautiful.
Yes.
Terrible.
I cheered at the
Terrible,
screen. It was
terrible.
so
Absolutely
good.
Great.
Great in the worst possible way. Okay, we've talked at length about Nash. If you have, just no. Let's have some fun.
no.
Let's recast this movie.
Let's do it. This is
All
this is
right.
my favorite segment every week.
This is a lot of fun.
Yes.
So today we're going to be, I know this is only a 7-year-old film, but we're going we're going with Chun-Li, Bison, Gen, Balrog, Nash, and Vega for funsies. Because that was everybody's biggest problem.
Totally.
So let's get started with Chun-Li. What does everybody got?
I think this was like, here's the thing. I read somewhere that Lucy Liu was approached
For Chun-Li.
for Chun-Li, turned it down, and then it broke my brain, right? Like after that, I'm like, it's got to be. I also think if you're going to mix this up, I always go through a couple of these. I go Lucy Liu, or I would probably do like a Zoe Saldana. Why not?
Okay.
Yeah, if they went
Why
half
not?
already.
They're just mixing it up anyway. Like, why not?
Yeah.
I don't want to be just a race. Like, everybody's a little bit different anyway, so why not? Zoe Saldana, she's a
could be,
badass. She
there's
throw a punch.
There's another character, Elena, that she would be good at too. But yeah, I like both of those. Stacey?
Okay. So I went with kind of the younger, more up and coming to fit the
All right.
teenage Chun-Li, and one of my choices was Arden Cho.
From?
She's probably best known for Teen Wolf right
Okay.
now.
Oh, so you
She's
lost
one
both of us.
Yeah, I just don't. I'm like, which is rare because one of us knows most.
No.
Okay.
It's not.
I'll
worth
take it. I'll
watching.
take a
No.
look.
She's also in something that's coming out too, and I forget what it
Okay.
is. But she
Well, I put
does the kind of kick-ass
Maggie Q.
thing.
Okay, great
Because
choice.
Right.
Great choice.
She knows she's trained in wushu.
Okay.
Which was the
go.
first part of this movie.
Right.
From the booth, we've got Ming-Na Wen, who already played Chun-Li in the original Street Fighter. I would like to see your return.
I could see that.
yes. Yeah.
Excellent call, Booth.
Yeah, love it. We need
We
her.
do.
need
We
her.
do.
So now let's go to Bison. This was the one that I was cackling at maniacally
Oh
at
yes,
earlier.
I've got to hear your Bison.
So one, and because his serious isn't very serious, Russell Crowe.
Okay. That's good because he's
fun.
physical.
And yeah, he's got
Crowe's
presence.
a big dude. I agree.
Like Javert when
Yep,
he, in
Yeah.
Les Miserables.
That's
Hey,
a really good
yeah,
one.
it's
He
not
was
bad.
so imposing as a general.
Yeah.
So you put him back in that.
Terrifying.
I would like
bad.
that. But if you want a guy who will go that full crazy, Gerard Butler
Yeah.
is another one that I
Oh,
put. If you want a guy who
that's a
wants to
good
go to that
one.
Raul Julia,
Yeah.
especially seeing all those Gods of Egypt trailers these
Yes,
days,
yes,
like,
yes.
dude, he can do crazy.
Totally.
And
Totally,
we have
way
a
over the
Scottish
top.
accent.
Yes, good point.
Yeah.
Good point.
What do you guys
That's
think?
a real good one. That's one of your better ones. I've got John Travolta because he can go like Broken Arrow John Travolta, just like crazy.
Broken Arrow face off.
Yes.
Oh, no.
That's who I want is in Bison. You kidding me? He's scary. Like you don't know what that guy's gonna do,
Dude.
right?
I'm in for
imposing.
Travolta
Yeah.
Bison.
Yeah, I was pretty excited about that.
That'd be so crazy. I like it.
Originally, I went Howie Long because he's that big physical, but like, no, that doesn't work. I want the crazy.
Yeah.
I want that
That
psycho
would be fun to
energy.
play
I'm
off
ripping
of.
my child out of my pregnant wife in some spook cave. Which, by the way, like, she's happy to be there. Like, in that scene when he's leading her down the
She's
hand.
totally down.
Totally down.
Yeah, no, she's in it.
Last thing she thinks the child's getting ripped out of her. I
No.
don't. Sorry, who do you have
Really
as Bison?
trusting. So I went with Paul Bettany.
Okay.
Oh, that'd be
See.
fun.
I could see that.
Yeah.
He could kind of toe that line.
All right.
Dolph Lundgren.
Yeah,
Dr. Dolph Lundgren.
Ivan Drago should be in everything
He's got the
always,
stature,
all the
though.
time.
Yeah.
He's got the stature. I
Yeah,
can see
for
that.
sure.
I can see
That's
that.
good.
Let's go to
Dude, this is very good.
Gen. Who do we
That
got
was
for
easy
Gen?
for me. And
Yeah.
it was really, again, it broke for me, but that is Jet Li, 100%.
I put Jet Li as well
Damn
because
right.
he is also
That's
a
awesome.
proprietor of Wushu.
Is that right?
Yep.
It just fit.
that-
Like especially Jet Li now, like he's a little bit older, a little bit seasoned, still in incredible shape. Would be a great like mentor.
Yeah.
Would be
Yep.
a good mentor. Like
And he's
that.
got the slenderness,
Yeah.
like the wiriness
Totally.
to pull it off.
And he's an actor too. Like yeah, so
Right. Going off that kind of wiry appearance, Daniel Day Kim.
yes, I like
Okay.
that. That's
Good
cool.
play.
that's not bad.
I mean, I went straight up for Wushu, but I
Yeah,
think that's a good
that's-
choice too. Balrog or Boxer or M. Bison, whoever you got.
I think you have to cast Mike Tyson. I
this
don't
point?
know.
Beautiful.
I don't know at this point. Like, and again, like in this, that we're even like, why not? Like, he's obviously he's the
That'd be
source
a little-
material. It would be, but I kind of think that would be fun. And I know that's cheating.
Terry Crews from the booth. That's killer.
Boom, guys, I win.
And-
You
Alexis-
do win. You're better at
That's it.
all of
There it
these.
is.
Yeah.
You're
Though,
killing
in
it.
chat, we got a couple people saying The Rock.
I
I think
almost.
he's not there yet.
I don't think
No.
it
I
was
love
quite
The
like
Rock,
that
but it's too much.
maniacal.
It's too
enough.
much. I agree.
Yeah.
Who
Terry
did
Crews
you
is
have?
Good. I actually went in the Vin Diesel direction.
Really?
Vin's
Because
not bad.
I think he could pull off.
I think
the
he could
leg
too.
totally.
I originally went Michael J. White because he's got the size, but he's a little bit too serious. Also,
Okay.
he's Jax
Yeah.
in the new Mortal Kombat series. But aside from that,
What about Michael B. Jordan? I know it's Creed.
No,
it's
I-
a boxer.
Can't get big enough.
no, that was
Yeah.
he's not. He's a slender boxer.
Yeah,
he's not
I know.
that gross.
But again,
Mike
if we're
Tyson.
making
dude,
a
Mike
reboot,
Tyson.
Mike Tyson, right? Like at this point, he's just
Yeah,
a goof.
Mike
If you
Tyson.
can't-
He's
if
just
you-
retired.
You're there.
Yeah,
He
sure,
just
I'll
wants some
play-
cash.
I'll play
Yeah,
that, whatever.
yeah, totally.
If you
I
can't-
just want Mike.
Sure.
If you can't get Tyson, definitely go Cruz. That's awesome.
Cruz is good.
All right, who do we have for Nash? Now, personally, I cast this as my ideal form of Nash.
I need to hear
Okay.
it.
The ex-Marine.
Who do you got?
Army Hammer. Like not as the one that we
Good.
not the Nash that
Wow.
we got, but the
All
Nash that we
right.
deserve.
All right.
Okay.
The ex-Marine Interpol agent played by Army Hammer. That's the Nash that I
Nice.
want to see.
All right.
Who do you have?
I went a little more based off of the movie,
Mm-hmm.
and went with Aiden Turner.
I know him. Yeah. Would he make the same mistakes?
I don't think he would be quite as absurd. I think he could actually play it a little more.
Reserved. But that dialogue,
I
they
mean,
they
I
wrote
know,
it
I'm trying
they'd
to
have
picture
to
it.
rewrite the dialogue.
They wrote it to be
I'm
campy.
trying to picture it.
But that
I-
didn't make it campy.
I
There were
wrestled
so
with it
many
a little
mistakes.
Yeah.
bit. I went. Originally, I was like, all right, so we need Keanu for this, but no,
I
Keanu
have
would be
him-
all
I
right.
was
Did you really?
I was thinking Keanu.
It was
Based
a little-
on looks and just like
Totally right,
absurd
but like
performance
but-
alone.
and he doesn't talk much, and Keanu kills those like just a few lines roles.
Right.
I also thought Jason Lee.
Jason Lee, really?
Yeah, I thought that
Well,
would be
he
kind of
looks-
like gross and like
But he looks
unwashed.
exactly the same, though.
A little bit, right? Right, but then on the way over here, I told you guys I had an epiphany, and Nash has to be Mark Wahlberg. Has to be.
See, I was gonna say that, but I didn't know if I was gonna be really left field.
No,
or maybe it.
totally. Like it would be ridiculous
really
because
funny.
he could say something gross like "I love my job," and you're like, "Yeah, Mark.
I
Yeah,
love
word
this
to your
job.
mother.
You tell
Say hi to your
us.
mother for me or whatever." Yeah,
Hey, ass, say hi to your mother for me.
yeah.
And now we got
Vega. What you got?
So this
You're the
week's-
Street Fighter
Well,
expert.
so this week's Oscar Isaac's participation award goes to Oscar Isaacs
Yay!
for his role as Vega. Because I see him as this cocksure, just
Totally.
super confident,
Absolutely.
over flamboyant.
Yep.
He could totally play this part.
I
And
was, sorry, I didn't mean to.
Go ahead,
I
Alexis.
was thinking of that new actor for Kingsman. The British actor?
I
can't
forgot
remember
his
his
name.
name.
The kid
Yeah,
in
the
Kingsman.
kid, the
Oh,
star, the
he'd be
lead.
great.
Yeah.
God, she's
I
just so
don't
good at
remember his
this.
name. Well, Vega.
You're killing it.
No, Alexis, we'll have you on one of these days.
I'd love it. I would
Please.
love it.
What does everybody else got for Vega?
Okay, so I just watched Cicero, and I think Benicio del Toro as an aging
As an older
Vega, but super flamboyant, like as flamboyant
Like
as you can
totally
get
over the
Benicio.
top?
Totally over the
Nice.
top,
Like collector style.
Yes,
or bigger.
maybe even a little bit bigger, maybe less colorful, but
Yeah.
for sure. And he's got so much presence, and he would
does.
destroy. He'd be perfect for that 8 minutes he's in the movie or whatever.
His
Stacey.
name is
Deadpool.
Taron Egerton.
Oh,
Oh,
Taron
yeah.
Edgerton or Edgerton?
Edgerton.
Edgerton.
One of
Okay.
them.
Yeah.
And Stacey, who do you got for Vega?
So Oscar Isaacs was one of mine. He ended up being my second choice to Manu Bennett.
I
who's
like
he?
him.
He is
He's good.
A couple of things. He was in Spartacus, and he's in The Arrow right now.
Yeah,
Okay.
he's
As
TV guy.
one of
Okay,
the TV shows.
I'll check it out.
Dude, we've got some
got better-
awesome
totally.
ones here. Man, I don't know. This was fun. Make sure to leave us your recasting
know.
on the comments down below.
Totally.
Let us know who you would cast
Yep.
as a modern recasting of this film. Final thoughts, guys.
Why?
Yeah, why?
We were gonna do a watch along in this.
No, and I would have loved it. I deeply regretted it when I
Yeah.
turned it off that I didn't have you guys, because like that would have been great.
needed
That
that
moment when you
support.
paused it, you're like, wait, I'm sorry, what just happened?
Excuse me?
This would have been the ideal movie to do that for. So like, I'm more convinced than ever that we need to do some watch-alongs.
Maybe we'll go back.
Yeah, this was just like it. Like I said before, I think there's no. I didn't want my money back. I wanted my time, and that is a mark of a very bad movie. I mean, like, I don't know when the dust settles, but it's top 5 worst movies I've ever seen. It's a train wreck, and only Nash is the part worth saving.
That's
I
funny.
think he was great.
Stacey?
I like Balrog, so he was the saving.
Yeah, okay,
the
fair
saving
enough.
grace
Yep,
for me.
yep.
Otherwise,
A
total trash.
couple of spotlights in a dark chapter
Yep.
of the Street Fighter franchise. Now, as a franchise as a whole, right before we wrap, would you give it an extra life, or would you game over the Street Fighter franchise? Not necessarily the Chun-Li franchise,
that's
but the
not
Street
fair.
Fighter.
Game over. I think like the source material in fighting games, like there's no narrative. Narrative is always an afterthought in the stupid games anyway. I just kill it. They don't like. There's other IPs. I'm done with fighting game movies. Burn.
I can understand that not as a fan of the franchise, but they've gotten so deep with their lore, and there's a wonderful series called Street Fighter Assassin's Fist that I would recommend anybody check out.
Okay.
That would anybody,
So good.
especially if you're a martial arts fan.
Okay.
Very cool. Group.
All right.
And that makes you go, okay, if the right people do it and care about it. So I'd say Extra Life. What would you say, Stacey?
I gotta go with Game Over. It did not work. I'm sorry.
Son of a biscuit.
It's
So
All
bad.
not-
So that's a 2-1. The show gives the
Can't
Street Fighter
like that
franchise.
again.
table. I'm telling you.
No, that's fine. The show gives.
Can't go through with that again.
I'm just saying here for everybody. The show gives the Street Fighter franchise a game over, much to my dismay. So with that, we're gonna let you know our next show. Alexis in the booth gives it an extra life, so we tied.
All right.
Maybe
All
we'll
right.
watch
Tie.
Street
We'll have
Fighter
another
2,
chance.
the animated movie, we'll watch in the future. But I want to do a couple more box office films before we do that.
I'm in.
Speaking
Yeah.
of that, next episode, 2 weeks from tonight, we are going to be covering Far Cry from Uva Bowl to celebrate the release of a much better product, Far Cry Primal.
Can it
Isn't
be
that how
worse?
it goes?
Can it be worse?
Yes.
Tune in 2 weeks
Yes,
to find
it
out.
can.
I know. That's what I'm terrified about.
Sure about that, because that was
Low
a
bar.
new low.
I know.
Dude, we haven't even touched
that
Uva
was
Bowl
I
yet.
can't wait. Oh, I know.
Round.
We haven't touched Uva Bowl yet. It's going to be a fun time.
I just want to say I'm glad I'm in this with you guys.
Thank you very much.
too.
So, speaking of being in with us, tell the folks at home what you're up to and where they can find you.
You can find me at Peter the Dees on Twitter. I host a video game podcast on iTunes. It's called Pixel by Pixel.
Very good.
I'm usually on Twitter at Ye Old Nerd or Nerds Doing Stuff, getting into con season, so starting to do a lot of costuming stuff.
Cool.
Definitely check out the website, nerdsdoingstuff.com, because your cosplay stuff is off the chart. But speaking
Wrap
of,
it up.
you guys have done, you and your husband do a Ruby cosplay.
We do.
And speaking of Ruby, make sure to watch the Ruby After Show. We did one last week. We had Gray Haddock and Jen Brown on. It was a lovely time. Check it out. And the finale is going to be next weekend. And the last show is going to be that week too. If you're getting Street Fighter V this week, let me know because I want to play it a lot and I want people to play with because the computer sucks. Thank you for joining us. Follow me on Twitter at Mark B. Donica. Today the B stands for Balrog. So make sure leave comments here. Find us on iTunes. Follow everybody on Twitter. Follow the Popcorn Talk on Twitter, and we'll see you next time. Thank you for joining us.
Hadouken.
Producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire Popcorn Talk Network. We would like to thank you for tuning in. For questions or comments, be sure to visit popcorntalk.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of the Popcorn Talk Network.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of the Popcorn Talk Network or its owners or principals.